Good evening, YouTube. I am Peace of Wolves, aka Pax. This episode I'll be talking about why I fought for my country. You'll get different answers from every soldier you speak to, especially the ones that have done, who've made real sacrifices for their country. I mean, there's really too many answers to that question. It boggles the mind as a soldier fighting for the Constitution, the United States of America, and everything that has got us thus far in the history of our nation. To see men and women condemning things like homosexuality, abortion, I'll stick to these two. These people who say these things need to know from us veterans that their attitude is a harmful one. Not only is it harmful, it's fucking disgusting. I didn't fly my ass halfway around the world to fight and potentially die in that shithole of a land for those people to say that gay marriage will destroy our country, or that abortion is going to undermine the future of our civilization. These people have no concept of the real world. Now, you don't need to go through the things that I've gone through to understand this. I've met victims of some of the most horrible things that a human being can withstand. I forget where I heard it, but you should always assume that out there somebody has it worse than you. I mean, is there anything more offensive than a person who seems to think that they've seen the worst in this world, that they're owed something, or that they're more important through the things that they've suffered through, as if suffering is something to be proud of? I'll tell you of the story. It's a moment in my life that I will never forget. It's the day my team leader died. I've mentioned it before, but this event was preceded by a feeling that could be described as religious. In fact, I misunderstood this experience. Now, I woke up one morning to someone shaking me awake, and the first thing I was told was that we had one killed in action, several wounded. One killed in action. No name. just one killed in action. The soldier of today carries around 120 pounds on their back, not counting extra ammo if that's the way they roll, or if they're carrying some mandatory equipment like a minesweeper, or there's this device that's like a backpack that has an antenna that interferes with radio-operated IEDs, and that's pretty fucking heavy too, especially when you throw in extra batteries on top of that. So you figure body armor, all that, 120, 150 pounds, maybe more, around there. When I heard 1 KIA, a sergeant grabbed me, said, "Lead us out." I already knew where the place was. I knew how to get there. Had I not been stopped by that sergeant, I would have sprinted all the way there. I wasn't aware that I was running. I didn't feel the weight on my body. I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel courage. I didn't feel brave. I didn't feel... I felt something else. It's not that I felt something else. I was something else. It was... I felt my place in the universe. I lost a sense of self. There was no voice in the back of my head. There was no instinct in my body driving me to do anything. I simply was. Words will never be able to describe this. I believe this is why religions possibly exist, or a reason. Had there been any obstacle, I would have driven myself straight into it. If there had been anybody to try and stop me, I wouldn't have hesitated. If I didn't have a gun, I don't think it would have slowed me down. I felt this one more time. When another buddy of mine stepped on an IED, and luckily he only took some shrapnel to the ass, so that's good. Good, easy way to get a Purple Heart and pay for your kid's college and, pay for yourself the rest of your life. But I didn't know that. I heard I was off on that mission. I had been told that one of mine was injured. There was an EOD team that I think had been called out earlier in the day, but they were there already, and they had already pulled the mission, so they're probably tired. But one of them was bitching about having to carry this fucking robot. I don't know, 2 miles away. Had to have been about 2 miles away from our location. I was already carrying a pack full of, I don't know. I was a communications expert, so I was carrying a lot of shit. I grabbed his backpack with the robot in it, threw it right over my shoulders on top of the other backpack, and I took off. I didn't even look him in the eye after that. I didn't need to. I didn't care. Once again, consciousness faded into something. It didn't fade, it transformed into something. Something I believe is... I had 2 minutes of perfection my whole life. those are them. The clarity that you experience when someone you love is in mortal danger. Some of us would rather die than expose ourselves to any sort of danger. And then there are those of us who can't help but expose ourselves to danger. I fought to elevate myself to something better. I wanted to be something more than just a man, something more than just a soldier. I wanted to be a hero in some sense, but what I wanted more was to change. This world has to change. I see a lot of YouTube videos talking about the Illuminati. You know, Obama, FEMA camps, these conspiracies. Been a part of the great machine that is our country. I'm going to tell you that it's nothing more than a bunch of scared, terrified people desperately trying to maintain some semblance of control and structure. They're barely keeping it together. That's the truth. I wish there was an Illuminati. I wish there was a conspiracy. But the scary thing is that there isn't. I don't know if there ever was. But this world is more chaotic than people want to believe. God is not keeping us from falling into oblivion. It's the efforts of a few people who are terrified of losing everything. The past 1,000 and some odd years of progress can be lost in a very brief period of time. It would only take a minute's worth of thought to reduce the world as you know it further back than the Stone Age. That's how bad things are. If you know anybody who is against homosexual marriage and abortion, and I use these examples because at the moment I can't think of anything that's more extreme, and I can't think of any other positions that's more ignorant than these two views. Marriage is nothing. There's nothing magic that happens when you tell a woman that you will be there the rest of your life, or a woman tells a man that her whole life is his, or a man and a man make the same promise, or a woman and a woman. It doesn't... What really matters? There are people starving in the streets. There's schools that are teaching out of textbooks that are... Marriage is nothing. I constantly struggle with keeping promises to myself and to others, but I end up keeping them because Christians say that in the beginning there was the Word. There is no God that loves us. But my word is law. It's the only control I have over the feeble state of my life. Marriage is just... it's something that below average people use to try and bring something special to their lives. There's nothing special about marriage. It's just a fucking word. It's just your word. What is your word worth? I have nothing more to say about this. Pax Luporum. Out.